Welcome to Coffee Havoc number 2. So, as you guys know, if you watch my 3 intros or my 4 intros, that this topic is a really tight topic because the size of a person, the skill of a person, and the style of martial art that a person takes does have a factor and an impact on your abilities to do the style of martial arts. I think that the styles and skills will probably what this video will be first, like the first half of it, and then I will talk into why I think certain people of certain body types should pick certain styles. Now I meant to do that in the video just like 40 minutes, but I totally got off track, and I'll probably get off track on this video as well. So before we do that, I'm going to make sure that you understand why I tend to get off track. When you get onto a martial art topic with me, it's hard for me to stay focused on one thing because one thing kind of flows into another thing, and the other thing kind of makes me want to stick there, and then I kind of forget what I was talking about in the first place, and I've always been like that. It's not that I'm lying to you, it's just that you've watched my videos long enough to know that it doesn't take much for me to get off topic and go a completely different direction. So let me apologize for that now, just in case that actually happens, because I know that it happened in the 40-minute video to begin this hyper anthology about martial arts, people's size, people's skills, and people's styles of martial arts. So as I said, let me talk about your skill levels and your styles first. Alright? So as a person who has studied martial arts, I started in karate, and then I went to basically taekwondo, and then the karate, some kempo, some kung fu. Okay, so all of those happened in a certain amount of time at a certain point in my life. Now the thing is, I've always been a small guy. I'm only 5'3.5". I'm about $120, maybe $125. I don't know how much I weigh because at the current time, the doctors haven't told me I need to come to the hospital, so I haven't weighed myself, and I've been eating more and trying to stress less. Alright, so let's say for instance a guy 6 feet. I say 6'2" is your cutoff for anything Chinese. Possibly some Japanese, but mostly anything for Chinese martial arts up into the 70s and 80s and possibly the 90s. Chinese men weren't very tall. You rarely found many Chinese men over 6 feet tall that I know of. Maybe a few of the Hong Kong actors, maybe a few basketball players, but the average man in Asia was pretty short for quite some time. But the average man around the world in general, not just Asians, but around the world, for at one point in time, 5'7" was the average height. The average height for women was between 5'1" and 5'3". Yay me, I'm the size of the average Vietnamese woman. So your size does play a factor in your skill level. And the reason why I tell you that, because your body size is very important versus your skill. And when I talk about size, you can include weight if you want, but I'm mostly just going by height. Your weight's a tiny factor, but it is a factor. Your weight really counts on your speed. Because there are some guys that are really big and really fast, but there are some guys who are really big and hella slow. And the reason I say that is because most of the people that I fought that have been bigger than me were really big and hella slow. I haven't fought too many people who are really big and hella quick. Now there are some guys out there that's 6 feet and up that are hella quick. You can't judge a book by its cover. But what you can do is follow some basic steps. If you underestimate your opponent, number one, if you think that someone can't beat you because they're either super big or super small, you've just thrown away that fight. Because the first thing and the worst thing that you can ever do is underestimate your opponent. Now, the big guys that I have fought really didn't have any fighting experience, but most big guys don't know about little guys' speed and endurance versus their big bodies. And the bigger you are, the best way that you can beat somebody is that you have to get a hold of them. Unless you've been trained where you got a pretty good hand game or a pretty good foot game. Now, a lot of you big guys just got mad. You just got mad at my little scrawny ass and said, would you like to put that to the test? I don't have to. I know big guys, and most big guys rely on their strength and their body mass index versus their skill, because they know 9 times out of 10, you don't have to have a lot of skill to knock someone out. You don't have to have a lot of strength. Beginner's luck is a thing. But the thing about that is your opponent. If your opponent is skillful, your size ain't gonna amount to a hill of beans if you only know how to grab them and beat them, but you have to grab them. Henceforth, another thing about pressure points, because pressure points only work if you can grab a hold of your opponent. They are useless if you can't get a hold of them. And that's what people don't understand. You know, if you're watching a kung fu movie, it's a kung fu movie. The martial arts is real. It's just toned down for effect and sped up for effect. How much of it you can use in the street varies, because there are some things you can use in the street that you've seen in the movies. Do I recommend it? Hell no. But a desperate man will do desperate things. So therefore, you have to formulate your own opinion on that. As I said in the 40-minute video, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Most people are going to judge me on this, and they're going to judge me poorly because I don't, one, have a punching bag, which would mean I need a live subject to actually prove my shit on. And two, most of the things that you see have been discussed. You know, if we're going to have a sparring match with rules so that no one gets hurt, we're going to have gloves on, or we're going to tip tap. Y'all know what that means? If you don't know what that means, watch this pillow. This is a tip tap. You know, just touching people just enough to let them know that they've been hit, or as a lot of sensei say, controlled aggression. All right, so you know, you tap them, you hit them just hard enough for them to know they've been stung a little bit, like bee stings. All right, a lot of people don't teach that anymore. I'm in my 40s. Things have been upgraded or downgraded depending on how you look at it, because in all the years that I have been trying to earn a belt so that I can open up a school, I recently found out that I didn't need a belt to open up a school. But I still want a belt before I open up a school, just to be on the safe side, because there's always a loophole where somebody can pretty much screw you over, you know, and you don't want to really go to a guy who doesn't have a belt to learn how to fight, even though that guy might be one of the baddest fighters on the planet. You kind of want those credentials to back him up. You know what I'm saying? I have military training. I had military training before I joined the military, and I had military training in the military. Needless to say, the military training I got before I joined the military was a fuck ton better than the shit I learned when I was in Bravo and Delta, because they taught Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I suck at. I openly admit that I suck at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I do not lie about that factor. I hate that shit. And the way I see it, you got to get me down to have that shit be effective. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu did not teach me any strikes and any counters other than when I'm on my back. Where Taekwondo taught me strikes and counter, and I took Taekwondo for a matter of 3 or 4 years, and the teacher couldn't stand me because I could fight, but I couldn't do katas to earn belts. And in some schools, that's a thing. You have to know the kata backwards and forwards to earn a belt. I don't like that system. I think that if you're going to earn a belt, then what I taught you should be applied. Even if it's a controlled tip-tap, you should be able to literally use what I taught you to earn your belt. You should be able to fight for your belt. No school on earth that I've been to in Charlottesville, in Virginia, period, has agreed with me yet. None of them. Oh, we don't fight for belts here. But how do I know if my shit works? How do I know if my belt is legit if I can't fight for it to prove that it's legit? I have been kicked out of a lot of dojos for that very phrase. Now, that has nothing to do with my size or my body or my skill level. It's just that every sensei I went to from the following schools, including my Taekwondo school, the Inner Stairway, which I will name first because the sensei has been dead. He went way to samurai way back in the 90s. And by way to samurai, I meant he committed seppuku. Okay, that being said, I went to the International Black Belt Center. They kicked me out. I went to the Seven Tigers. They kicked me out. I went to a couple of more whose names I can't remember. They kicked me out. I was 25 years old. I had beaten black belts in school, sparring, and doing things that no one else could do. And I knew that I was better than those black belts. But I could not earn a belt to save my life. But the trick was, these guys were not street fighters. And I was a street fighter who picked up martial arts just so that I couldn't get beat on the streets. I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I'm a very small guy. People like to pick on the biggest target in the room, which is generally not this guy, but this guy. So your body size does make a difference. If you are over 6 feet, you are rarely going to get picked on. Rarely. When you're under 5'7", which is average, maybe 6 foot's average now, but when you're under 5'7", and you've been picked on from kindergarten to college, your body size has a lot to do with that. But there's a difference between being picked on and being bullied and then an actual fight. My actual fights happened in the streets when I was 6 till I was 12. That's not relevant. But everybody I fought in those fights were bigger than me. As I got older, everybody I fought was still bigger than me. Have I ever fought in a competition? No. Could I fight in a competition? No. You know why? Because a lot of competitions here in Virginia, if you didn't have a belt ranking, if you didn't have a first degree white belt, or a yellow belt, or a blue belt, or a green belt, or whatever the hell the next situation is, you weren't going to fight. Alright? And this was like before MMA came out, where belts were not required, where you get in the cage. Now when MMA came out, here's how this worked out against me. My body size mattered. My height and my weight mattered. Like I said in many videos before, I applied for rec. I applied for UFC, and this was way before the Dana White era. I applied for Pride, because this is when the internet just came out. I used to watch shoot fighting on the internet all the time. I can't remember the name of the Chinese guy and the Chinese girl, but they used to beat the shit out of everybody. There were no weight classes in shoot fighting. There was, you go on this side, you go on that side, you meet in the middle, winner takes the prize. Now, of course, all of y'all are laughing because back in the 90s, this was just beginning to blow up. Just like now, where everybody's either UFC or Pride or One. I think it's One. I'm not sure. There's a lot of fighting leagues out, just like there's a lot of wrestling leagues out. But for a guy who's 5'3" and only 115 pounds, that shit wasn't happening. Yet, in Asia, there was a woman who was maybe 100 pounds beating the fuck out of dudes in a cage. Which is how we got that idea and made it a legal sport over in America so that people could win money or earn money. Side effect, cauliflower ear, which I don't have because I've never been in a cage fight. I've never lied to y'all, and I don't plan on doing it now. Can I get out here in the streets and fight somebody's ass? If they are trying to hurt me, yes. Do I recommend that? No. However, the bigger you are, the harder I'm going to hit you because you're bigger than me. Size is a factor. The thing about fighting somebody my own size is that I don't have to really play with them. I can win this shit and get it over with. The thing about fighting somebody bigger than me is that I can't afford to play with them. And in my old ass condition with this hip replacement, believe me, I'm going to end this fight as quickly as possible. And this is the thing about your skill level. This is where skill plays an important factor in your life. Understand that your skill level and your fighting ability comes from experience. That's the one thing you have to understand in all fights. Your experience is everything. And I mean, if you don't have a lot of fighting experience, and most people don't, you're going to get hurt. Alright? Now, I'm currently in a Saber Night Lights thing. And I get my ass handed to me all the freaking time. And I literally mean all the time. We're sparring with these lightsabers. I get my ass handed to me. I'm not real good at that shit. You know, it's a thing. It's a work in progress. I've been doing it for a while. And maybe, because the sensei may be right, maybe I'm fearing success in that field. I hold back a lot because I don't have a lot of reflex control. And not having a lot of reflex control can be the difference maker between you hurting somebody and not hurting someone. So I know you guys probably heard this story, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. One of the worst things that I've ever done in martial arts was I hurt my father. It wasn't intentional, and this is why I don't really train hard with people, because I don't have reflex control. I went to visit my dad. I was 23, and I was talking to my stepmom, and we were just talking. And I don't know what exactly we were talking about because they're both dead now. God rest their souls. But my dad came up behind me, and all I seen was his hands. I didn't know it was him. I should have known better because only two people of color that was in the house at the whole time, which was me and him. And my stepmother was white. So I'm talking to her, and he came up and his hands went like this. Now I could have grabbed them and broke them on my shoulders because I had been taught to do that. But what happened was, when I seen the hands, my body just took off. It's like, wham! I didn't even realize I had done it until I put my elbow back and my dad started mothering out the mouth all kinds of swear words. Your skill level, when martial arts becomes second nature, I will try my best to remember that I said that, and I will try to make a different video about martial arts being second nature, because that's very important. But your skill level and your size are factors in fighting, whether it's in a controlled environment, whether it's in a movie, whether it's in a non-controlled environment. And the problem with this is that, all right, the younger you start, the easier it is to hone your reflexes, okay? Now, in my generation, us Generation Xers, in my generation, now I'm finding out that some of the things that I believed was bullshit, but some of the bullshit does work. I know you won't believe that, but I'm telling you, some of the bullshit does work. Like pressure points. That shit's not all bullshit. But, learning certain things about the human body, and especially your body, will help you utilize your skills. Your size being a tiny factor, your skills being the larger factor. It is better to be skillful than just rely on your size and strength, because size and strength does eventually wear out. You'll still be huge, but your strength will diminish. I'm still hella quick, but I have no power anymore. Not like in my 20s where I can just and do some shit and bust you up. Now, if I don't have the technique, then I'm in trouble. And that's another thing you need to understand, that technique is better than flash. It's better to be technical and be right than flare it up and be wrong. And here's the thing about fighting. If you miss, you're in a world of hurt, depending on what your skill level is. If you don't know how to protect, and this is very important, if you don't believe anything else I say in this video, you better believe this. If you don't know how to protect yourself in a fight, you have lost that fight. And if you lose your head in the fight, you have lost the fight. Two things you got to remember when the fight begins: being calm is irrational, and it's more than likely not really going to happen like in the movies. I'm sure you guys seen the Tag movie with Jeremy Renner, where he says he takes 2 steps to the left, he slings the thing. If I take a step and a half to the right, I can catch it and then dodge the tag. And he does that. It's not like that in a fight. In a fight, it's hit, 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 receive, 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 receive. And it's happening at a rapid rate. Now, faster than you can blink an eye, somebody's hitting you in the face. And if they got the advantage, they're going to keep hitting you in the face. So if you don't know how to block, and not just the boxing block, but all blocks. If you don't know all the blocks in martial arts, you better take another lesson of a different kind. So, let me break it down for you. Thai fighters, kickboxers, karate, kung fu. What happened? What you saw was the same thing. So, with karate and kung fu, there's minor differences. But it also depends on what style of karate or kung fu you're taking. Now let's get into what I recommend. Alright? Here's what I recommend. You don't have to take this anything other than a grain of salt, because like I said, everybody has their opinion. Some people have 3. So here's what you do with this. At the beginning of this video, I said that I want to talk about your size and your skills and your styles. And then I took one out, but I don't remember which one I took out, so we're going to bring them all back in. Alright? Because like I said, I get off track, and it's a done deal. I got off track, now this is my way of bringing it back around to get back on track. For me, in my personal opinion, if you're over 6'2", Japanese karate, taekwondo, aikido, Okinawa kempo, Korean kempo, judo, jiu-jitsu. I'm going to stress this out if I say it, but I'm probably going to piss people off. Ninjutsu. Let's see, what the hell is the other shit? Anything from the Philippines, and anything from, like, Samoa, I advise y'all to take all those. because you're over 6 foot, and most of those guys are fairly tall, and they can teach you a lot better than me trying to teach you how to adapt. You will learn how to adapt and fight small people when you're taking more Chinese-based martial arts. And the reason I say that is because most of the China at the time was just a little bit bigger than me. Alright? Jet Li's 5'6". Bruce Lee was 5'5". Jackie Chan's 5'7". Sammo Hung's 5'7.5", 5'8". Donnie Yen, I think, might be the tallest in the group. I think he hits in at maybe 6 even. Outside of Yao Ming and the guy from Rush Hour 2 that was swinging Chris Tucker around, there are a lot of bigger Asians now. The biggest Asian I seen was Yao Ming outside of the guy from Rush Hour 2 that was swinging the guy around. And the thing with that is, a lot of people don't rely on skills versus their strength and their size. Now, a lot of people who are big will hit you hard, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because they have learned that their size matters. They also haven't fought somebody who is very skillful, who knows that their size does not matter. You see the hypocriticalness that's coming in there? Because if you ever learned judo, at least when I was learning judo, the first thing the sensei said was, your size does not matter in judo. A big guy can beat a small guy's ass by using the big guy's own mass, body, strength, and skills against himself. Because in judo, it is the art of throwing people around. Now, how much of that shit is true depends on who you are engaging in a fight. Alright? If you're engaging a judo champion and you're not a judo champion, or you don't have excessive judo skills, you only have like maybe a year of judo, while this guy is like a judo savant, you're going to get your ass kicked. However, as I may be hypocritical again, you could get lucky if you catch this guy on a bad day. It happens. You may never beat this guy again, but you may be that 1 in 1,000 that beats that guy that one time. Let me put it nicely. You will be the Riddick Bowe of your sport. Alright? It happens. It's just like if I got into a ring with somebody who did BJJ, they're going to mop the floor with my ass. Why? Because I suck at BJJ. Now, if we're going to do a fight where we just stand up, that's my game. Now, if we say, alright, no holds barred, we can do BJJ and whatever I do. Alright? So, for the most part, a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu dudes, they got to get you down to make that shit work. They got to. I don't care what anybody says about this part of this video, because I know it's a fucking fact. When I was in the Army, the first thing they said was, you're going to lay on your back, and you're going to roll this guy who's 300 plus pounds off your ass and get in a side mount. Needless to say, that shit only worked one time, because he allowed that shit to happen. Just to please the damn drill sergeant. I could not roll that big bastard off me to save my dick. Which, by the way, I know he hates me for headbutting him in his shit 4 times that day. I know he got tired of it, and brother out there serving, I apologize for that. But here's reality. If you got me on my back, I've already lost. You've knocked me the fuck out, because it's the only way you're going to get me on my back. Now, when I was in Taekwondo, our Taekwondo instructors taught me one thing that I did not learn from Master Ennis, which was the sprawl. Alright? However, in the Army, when we do the sprawl, our drill sergeant, who will remain nameless, sprawl like this, but he went all the way to the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, if I dive that far, I got an open shot to the face. If I sprawl, this guy's going to knee me in the face, he's going to kick me in the face when I get into the front leaning rest position. So there are ways to modify that by not dropping into the front leaning rest position. And usually the sprawl is for when someone's coming in to tackle you anyway. So you sprawl and you push them back. You throw your hips back and you push your legs back so that, you keep your arms forward and they're on their shoulders or whatever. So you're pushing them down. You're trying to take over. Now, here's the way I see that. If you're coming to attack me and I sprawl, I'm going to elbow you in your fucking spine. Alright? Illegal move? Fuck yeah. Do I give a shit versus you beating my ass versus me beating your ass? If I sprawl and you're still coming, you're damn right I don't give a shit. Illegal move, I don't give a fuck. I'm a fighter. I'm gonna survive this shit. I'm not fighting to win, I'm fighting to survive. So when you're coming in and you get me down at the waist and you're about to pick me up, I'm gonna drive my elbows into whatever part of your body is available. I would prefer it to be your spine because this is a very tender spot on the human body. All the way from the nape of your neck all the way to your butt. The spine is a very bad place to get hit. It's not a lot of muscle there protecting that. So therefore, I'm going to do what I got to do. You know. And also, if you're coming in and I sprawl and I can get a knee to your face, that's what I'm going to do. Now, they did not teach me that in the Army because what they said was, you sprawl. And I'm looking at this shit the whole time, watching everybody sprawl. I was on profile, so they didn't let me participate much. And I sit there and I said, man, these guys are going to get us killed. Because my sensei in Taekwondo taught me a totally different thing from that. This frog looks like it's about to fall. Anyway, or I'm going to pass out. Anyway, the whole point of the matter is that, you know, your size is a small factor versus your skill. And your skills and your size, plus the style that you have learned, come into play when the fight starts. So, if you're taking Chinese or Japanese martial arts or Filipino martial arts, which I have no idea that they even had one. I just learned that from some of my Filipino friends that I can't pronounce the shit, and Kali were from the Philippines. I had never even heard of Kali or the other one. I've only known martial arts from China, Japan, and Korea. I've never taken a Filipino martial art. I've taken a little bit of capoeira. As you guys watched that video the other day, you guys can see that 20-year-old James's capoeira is way better than 46-year-old James capoeira. Because my capoeira now sucks. However, I can still beat a guy that's doing capoeira because I know what the fuck I'm doing. Capoeira takes a whole lot of movement. And a martial art that takes a lot of movement really isn't for really big guys, which is what I'm trying to point out about your size. You can have a lot of strength and still get beat. You can have a lot of skill and still get beat. Because your skill level and your strength, plus the style that you have learned, all play a factor in a fight. Now, this is why MMA guys are so fucking successful versus guys who only study one style. If I just do Kung Fu, and I don't combine it with anything else, I just do Kung Fu. So you see me doing the Tiger. And this is the only thing I do, Tiger. Everyday Tiger, push hands, Tiger, push hands, Tiger, push hands, Tiger. And then I come up into you. And you have four, that's 3 fingers, but you have 4 skills. I only have 3 for one reason. I'm going to tell you in a second. So the first skill you have is Aikido. Aikido is a lot of evading and a lot of throwing. And every now and again, if you went to the right Aikido school, they may throw in a pressure point. Your second skill is Kempo, which definitely teaches you pressure points depending on if you took Okinawa Kempo, if you took Korean Kempo, and I took both. So therefore, there are pressure points involved because every punch is a block and every block is a strike. Okay, so your third skill is Kung Fu. So, you see me doing the Tiger. And you match the Tiger with the Dragon. So, we're rumbling at it. And I'm winning. So, you change your skills to Aikido. So, every time I go in for a move, you wipe me around and whip me around like you see in those videos, which is not always how it's going to happen. If you don't physically touch me, then it's not going to be effective. Alright? You literally are going to have to grab me and guide me for Aikido to work. It's not always sidestepping and twirling with those big, thick, fat pants. Okay? Some of that shit don't always work. But again, if you are very skillful at it, you can make the shit work. That's the difference maker. Now, the other one I said, what the hell was it? So, yeah, Keto, Kempo, or Kung Fu, I think is what I said. See, I lost it. Whatever that is, because I started detailing about Kempo. But your third skill, let's just change it up and say your third skill is Kempo. So you started using Kempo and you're hitting me in spots like in here, like trying to go for wrist locks and shit like that. And I don't know, did you have a 4th skill, which is Judo. So I'm beating the crap out of you with Tiger Kung Fu. You've gone through Judo, so I don't know. So my last move, I've gotten you in a position where you have no choice but to use Judo. So I'm coming down with a Tiger Strike. And you decide, catch, hip toss. Which is not impossible. Highly improbable, but let's say we do it in realistic terms where you block. So you're blocking my strike, and you're hitting me in the gut, and then you're going to grab, you're going to twist, and you're going to turn, and you're going to throw me down. So when you do that, now I didn't see the judo coming, and I only knew Tiger Kung Fu. Now you've also got my arm, and you can put it in an arm lock, and in that arm lock, you can put your knee on my neck and make me submit. Which you probably would be thinking about that at the time because you'll be pissed off from all the ass whooping that I gave you, and you'll want to start dropping elbows on my face, which is not a part of judo, by the way, or Kenpo. But any fighter will tell you an available weapon is an available weapon, whether it be your knee on my neck or a forearm to the face. You're going to adapt in a fight and learn to use things that are right there. So, what did you learn from that? You've learned that the more styles you have, the better your arsenal. The better your arsenal, the better chance you have at surviving the fucking fight. Now let's say the scenario was, you know 4 and I know 5, you know. So let's say we both know animal styles of Kung Fu. Tiger, dragon, mantis, snake, crane, even the horse fist. So let's say you know that. And let's say you even know the iron body technique. That's just the first style. Let's say you know Okinawa karate, and I know regular karate. Don't ask. There is a difference. Let's say you know Aikido and Kenpo, and I know Aikido, and I know kickboxing, but not Thai fighting. There is a difference. So now, you got these 4, and I got this 5th one that you don't know about, and the 5th one is called Taekwondo. So now I got one more skill up. We're beating each other's asses, and you're beating me with the 4 skills that you know. So I have to pull out Taekwondo to level the playing field. Those one-style fighters can't do that. If you only know Taekwondo, and it's never let you down, and you refuse to learn something else, you're going to run into a problem when you encounter someone who has multiple skills. They're a little bit bigger, they're a little bit girthier, and their skill level is on point. This is why I said your size, your skills, and your styles are all a factor in a fight. Now, I could get really lucky, and you can know this stuff, and I can either get really, really lucky and hit you with a one-hitter quitter and call it a day. I can get super lucky, get behind you and put you in a rear neck and choke, or a cobra clutch, or something that will cut off the air to your body, and while I'm trying to choke you because you're 6'4", I got my knee in your spine, and I know you're thinking, why would you bring that up? Okay, so I'm going to give you another story, and I'm going to end this video on how your size and your skills and your style is a very important factor. Alright, so when we first moved over here to Rougemont, many moons ago, back in the 90s, I had been honing my martial arts the whole summer. You know, hadn't gotten any fights since before the summer because that video I told y'all about the week I got into a fight, I was 15, I turned 16, that was the last week I got into a fight of my life until I got back here. So I had just turned 16 before I came home because we had moved from the projects. We moved from the bad neighborhood to a slightly better neighborhood that still had black people in it. So we got a dog. And I hadn't explored the neighborhood and I wanted to go to the park, so I took the dog to the park. I took the dog back home. I wanted to go look in the park again. So I went to the park, I went to the creek. I started looking at everything, it's like, wow, I'm going to enjoy it here. It's a park. See, in the projects, I could only train in my backyard if I didn't want to be disturbed by other people looking at me train. But in the park, it's like open area. In my backyard, I could really use the pole technique because we had our clothesline, and we washed clothes so much that I just couldn't use the clothesline. I'd have to go outside and use telephone pole. I will promise to do another video about the pole technique, I swear. If not, you can find it on my Facebook page, my YouTube page. One of the two. So, I'm at the park, and this guy would leave his name off. He won't let me leave the park. He's a big guy. He's every bit of 5'11". Now, he's not 6 feet, but he's pretty close to it, and he's every bit of 250 pounds. In other words, he was a fat guy. So, I had all the fun I could have at the park. I didn't work out or anything. I was just gonna explore, your new neighborhood and most of the new kids on the block. Before you get to know everybody, you probably want to know your neighborhood. So I'm knowing the neighborhood, and I'm in the park. I'm looking, I'm enjoying everything. That's back when we had the curly slide, and we had the monkey bar shaped like a cage. I guess they're monkey bars. I don't know what the fuck they are. But we also had a merry-go-round. Alright? So, and we had some swings, as all parks do. So, I played on that shit, looked around, went to the creek, came back, tested the swings, started going home. And we didn't have a kids section like we do now. So, I'm going home, and this guy is supposed to be the biggest guy on the block. And he's supposed to be the baddest guy on the block. So he's about to find out that just because you think you're bad does not mean you can beat everybody's ass. And just because a guy's small does not mean that you can beat his ass. So when I get to the exit out of the park, I'm trying to walk out of the park. And I step to my right, he steps to his left. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to leave the park. He's like, you ain't going nowhere until we have a little chat. I said, look, I don't know you. I don't want no trouble. Don't make me hurt you. I'm going home now. So I step to my left and he steps to his right. So then we do it one more time. And he's laughing at me. He's like, you're like 5 foot nothing, dude. You ain't hurting nothing here. I said, look, man, I'm only going to tell you this one more time. I know martial arts. I don't want to hurt you. I'm going to walk away now before this gets nasty. So this is where shit goes from you being peaceful to you putting someone in a fucking chokehold. So the guy went to grab me, and I swung around him like a little spider monkey, and I put him in a chokehold. This very chokehold, where this arm is through this arm, and his head's right there. And, yes, so did you know, I was on his back, he was taller than me, so I put my knees in his back. He started going to the ground, I started choking him even harder, and I told him, I said, I don't want to hurt you. I just want to go home. But you're making this very, very difficult. Now I'm going to let you go. Mistake number one. I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going home. Do we understand each other? Yeah. So I let him go. Some bitch grabbed me again. Other side, same chokehold. I was like, I just fucking told you that I just want to go home. I don't want no problems. Now my knee is really in his back. No, because I'm on his back. I'm looking like a little spider monkey from hell. I'm choking the shit out of him now. I said, I'm going to let you go one more time. If you do something stupid, I'm going to fucking kill you the next time I put my fucking hands on you. Understand this. I don't want the block. All I want is to be left alone. You can control whoever you want. Just don't fuck with me and don't fuck with my family. I let him go. Mistake number two. This son bitch tried to grab me again. Now I'm a wrestling fan, I kid you not. And I learned the Cobra Clutch, which is this chokehold. So this time, when he grabbed me, I did the same exact shit, but this time I put him in this chokehold. And I reared down on him, and I got my one knee in his back and my other knee on the backside of his legs. We're not playing anymore. Now I'm fixing to kill this fucker. So I got him in this hole. I'm pushing this hand down. I'm squeezing this hand up. I'm not giving him any room for error. And I'm not making this mistake ever the fuck again. So my knee is in his back. So my knee, this knee, where's my ruler? My knee is right there between his shoulder blades. Because I'm pretty short. And he was tall. And I got him. So I'm hunched over like this. And I'm pushing my knee into his back. And I'm choking the shit out of this fucker. And I got this leg in his other leg. So I'm pretty flexible. And he goes down. So when we finally get on the ground, I get my knee out of this leg. And I'm still got my other knee in his back. And I'm reeling on it. So I'm driving my knee right up in here while I'm choking him. So you can see I'm in a small ball. I'm condensed like a snake. And he's choking. He's going out. I'm done playing with him. He's going out this time. So he's coughing and hacking and drooling all over my arm. And I said to him one last time, if I let your ass up, you better go home. if you ever fuck with me or my family, I'm going to kill you. You can see that I'm fully capable of ending your shit. Now, what y'all fail to understand, this is before I got my Green Beret training. But all of my uncles, except maybe 2 on my mama's side and 1 on my daddy's side, have been in the military. So I have been trained by some shit. I had 2 uncles that served. 1 served in Vietnam on the ground. 1 served in Vietnam on the ship. Another one was in Vietnam on a different ship. So I had 2 uncles in the Navy on my mom's side, and I had an uncle in the Army on my mom's side. And my uncle on my dad's side was the uncle that served in Vietnam on the ground. Alright, my other uncle on my mom's side, that was in the Army, served in Desert Storm and Iraq. Don't think that they didn't teach me some shit. Because they did. Which is how I managed to choke the fucking dog shit out this dude. Size. He outweighed me by an extra 90 some odd pounds. Height. He was at least a foot taller. No, damn near a foot taller. He's like 5'9". So he's up there. I'm 5'3". You might as well say he was a foot taller, because 5'9" is only like 2.5 inches away from 6 feet tall. But like I said, he was a big boy. Now, he's big boy. He thought that he was going to come and whoop my ass because I was 5'3". Let's just say David killed Goliath with 1 stone. And I've lived by that policy all of my life, because everyone I've ever fought has never been smaller than me. They've always been bigger than me. Always. And if it ain't 1 of them, it's always 2 of them. I've been jumped twice. Once on my job and once or twice in the projects. Doesn't matter. I've been fighting all my life. It's all I know. What I do know for sure, though, is the size of a person don't mean shit if they don't have the skills to back up their fucking size. You can be as big as The Rock and can't fight your way out of a wet paper bag. You can be as small as Bruce Lee and can't fight your way out of a wet paper bag. If you don't have the skills to back up that size, you're asking for an ass whooping. Now, this goes to show you that no matter what I tell you, you're either going to believe it or not, because you weren't there to see it. And at the time in the 90s, no one really had these things. And there weren't no cameras in our park. The FBI was up there. I hope the hell they don't have that shit. But, they really don't do like they do on TV. But the thing is, when you are in a life and death situation, the size of your enemy, out the window. The only thing that's going to matter is your skills and his skills. And here's that thing about fighting. If you haven't really been in a fight, you can still win a fight. Beginner's luck is a thing. If you have been in enough fights, you've learned from your mistakes if you lost. You've learned from your victories how to not lose. Don't get cocky and think that you can't. But for the most part, you've learned how not to lose. But the most important thing you've learned in your fight is that not all fights are the same. Every fight is different. Every aspect of a fight is different. Everything goes one way or the other, and in a fight, you are going to get hit. I don't give a damn if it's a controlled environment or if it's not a controlled environment. To end this video, I want you to know one hard fact that is true. You're going to get hit, and it's going to hurt. Might even put your ass to sleep. But know this, in every fight, if you don't get hit, you're the Flash, and you've been blessed. I'm James Williams Hughes, Kung Fu Fighting number 2. Be seeing you.